in the early days of a startup, it's like the Wild West. But, in our defense, it was the Friday before Labor Day. So, the talking to was the following Tuesday. But, anyways, half the office was gone. So, I mean, technically, we were actually grinding it out, you know.
Yeah.
We were showing grit.
Yeah, who's really at fault?
That's
there?
what grit is about.
It's about being at work.
Styrofoam cups. From a gas station and mystery drink. Like, I don't know.
We still haven't confirmed what it was, so for all we know, it was just,
it was just Kool-Aid.
It was just Dayquil.
Yeah, it was Dayquil. Right in the middle of the summer when the flu was going around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, what's up, and welcome to the 50/50 Show, the show where we ask half hard-hitting questions about the integration of sales and marketing and half questions that are completely irrelevant. 50/50 Show is brought to you by JumpCrew. We help B2B companies acquire more customers through strategic marketing and sales. Today, we're excited to have Mr. Dave Meade, who is our fourth guest on the 50/50 Show. Dave, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you. So today we're going to get into a lot of different things. You've been at JumpCrew for a while now, probably one of the longest tenured people here. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll get into some questions that are a little bit off the wall. Dave doesn't know some of these questions, but those of you who are familiar with the format of the show, that's the way that we do things here. We really want to use this as an opportunity to get a little bit more information about your role, like what day-to-day is life like at JumpCrew, some of the things that are working, some of the big opportunities for us to do better, then long-term trajectory of where we're going. So just to kick things off, like we always do, love just to get a little background on like who Dave Meade is, anything and everything that you want to share to help us get better acquainted with you.
Yeah, so Dave Meade is a sales manager at JumpCrew. I've been here 3 years, celebrated my anniversary last week actually, so
congratulations.
Huge milestone. 6 months in JumpCrew is about 2 years in JumpCrew time, so anyways, seen a lot, been here a while, seen a lot of folks grow, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of.
Awesome. Yeah, and I came on in October of 2017, and you had already been there for a while. And you were on what was then the social team, and we were selling social media marketing. We've pivoted a lot since then. Definitely found our path, but it's with it being 3 years under their belt right now. Like, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen at JumpCrew from day one till here we are now in 2020?
Yeah, so when I was thinking about joining JumpCrew, there wasn't even a website. So when I called in, got that call from Ellie, and I was looking up online trying to find some information because you want to come prepared. There wasn't anything there. Obviously, I had someone already working at JumpCrew that I knew, so I trusted him. But then first day on the phones, it was actually using our cell phones. So seeing that trajectory from day one to where we're at now, with all the technology, just ins and outs that go into it, it's been crazy.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. And actually, your career has changed a lot. You've been in a couple different ends of the spectrum. From what I know, you've been an English teacher. You worked at another company in a sales role, and maybe some more. Tell us a little bit about what you've done in the past professionally, and then maybe how you landed in a sales role.
Yeah, so I taught English for a couple of years, coached high school basketball as well, and it was in my hometown, so it was a little bit different, but figured out my heart really wasn't in that. But, getting into sales here in Nashville, I started out at Service Source, and still had that opportunity to coach and be a part of a team, but make way more money. So that's kind of how I got here. But, originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Never really thought about myself moving to Nashville, never thought of myself as a sales guy, but here I am. So it's been a crazy journey.
Chattanooga is actually one of my favorite cities. I had my bachelor party in Chattanooga, and I had a bunch of people who flew out from Los Angeles, and I had to kind of sell them on the idea because they didn't know what Chattanooga was. And so I found all of these really weird, like, trivia points about Chattanooga. One is fastest internet in the country.
Gig City.
Yep. Home of the moon pie.
That's right.
Also home of Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson, first bottling company for Coca-Cola. Lots of interesting stuff down there.
Yeah, like if you weren't already sold at fastest internet, I definitely got you at Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
What parts about your experience as an English teacher do you feel like you still use today, or is that just a completely different little compartment of your experience?
Oh gosh, really just the way that I communicate with people, especially in large groups. Sometimes in public settings and large group settings, I have to remind myself that I did it every day for 2 years, and that this is something that I can do. So other than that, like, good grief, I don't even think about those days anymore. It's like, leave that in the past. Like, it was rough. I had my little brother in class. He was a senior, so that was very interesting, to say the least. So, but yeah, I mean, a completely different world.
Yeah, I mean, it's a far cry. And it's funny, you see that a lot at JumpCrew is it's not like we're always finding people that have a traditional sales background. In fact, I'd almost argue it's more the alternative than that. It's like we're just looking for people who have the right mindset, who are wanting to come build something. And sales is something that I think has this misconception that you have to have been in like, a slick, hard selling mode all the time and you're a good salesperson, but it's really just about like listening and asking good questions. And I think being an English teacher probably gave you a totally different skill set that somebody maybe who had been just in sales before didn't have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a little bit about the format of 50/50 show. We've kept it pretty regular. So I'm going to kind of warm up a little bit and go a little bit off JumpCrew track, a little bit off the professional track. I'd be curious to learn, what do you think is an invention that doesn't currently exist, but should exist?
Gosh, I'm probably the worst person to ask. Ask me at 3 a.m. when I'm laying in bed thinking about stuff.
We'll make sure to do our next episode of the 50/50 show from your bedroom at 3 a.m.
Yeah, let's just do that. Yeah, we'll set you up. We'll put the mics right over, and then I'll pop up with an idea. I don't know, something that should exist. I think we got to have some more hovercraft stuff. Like, I've seen a lot of that stuff already coming up, but just being able to be lazy and scooters are all right. I mean, you can still be lazy and get places on a scooter, but I don't know. I think teleportation is definitely something that we need to figure out.
Yeah, we should probably get to work on that. I've always seen like when they're, what is that movie? Goes a Galaxy Quest, when they're trying the teleportation and they teleport something. I think it was an animal from point A to point B, and when it comes out at point B, it was all of its body parts were all mixed around. It's probably going to be the first iteration of that. I don't want to be in the test group. I actually was thinking about, I was talking to Jerry about this the other day. Here's my invention. So, when it's cold out and everybody gets those hand warmers and they're those little square packets and you slip them inside your glove, right? Well, that square packet is warming the thickest part of your hand. What gets cold, it's not your palm. It's the tips of your fingers up inside the little pockets, right? So my suggestion is, and this is intellectual property, is that you get, those latex doctor gloves that slip out of the little box. You get some of those that have that touch sensitive heat packets or whatever, like up inside the fingers. So you slip it on and it starts warming all around your fingertips, and then you put your glove on over that. And so it warms all of your mandibles.
I'd like to submit my application for when that becomes a thing.
I'll
be first salesperson.
Yeah, honestly, at this point,
gig, I'll still be at JumpCrew.
This may okay. We're gonna.
It's
do
not
a
my
side
resignation.
hustle.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to talk about this offline, man. we may not have any more episodes of the 50/50 show.
Yeah, you're done here, Dave.
What does your role entail? So you say sales manager. Help us better understand what that means. Are you managing people selling JumpCrew? Are you managing people who are supporting some of our partners? Like, what does your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, so the team that I manage is a conglomeration of all of our clients. So there's a couple of us, a team of managers that we have multiple teams assigned to us. So we really get to be hands-on with multiple accounts, getting to know the people that strategic accounts are signing up. So it's very interesting to be able to build those relationships with so many professionals outside of JumpCrew that aren't sales professionals, and that's why they hire us. So it's been interesting and very exciting to be able to help people, not just the people on my team, but incorporating the clients and being of service to them as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a ton of reasons why our partners come to us in the first place. I mean, there's a laundry list of those. In your experience, what would you say are some of the things that they don't know when it comes to building out a sales team for the first time? I mean, that's why they turn to us in the first place. But if they were going to do it on their own, like, what can they expect to have to deal with?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of stuff that just involves a lot of the culture and the lingo in a sales organization, your cadences, being able to determine KPIs, the emails that are effective that get people's attention but doesn't bog them down with too much information. So really just all the basic sales things that that we incorporate in our day-to-day in JumpCrew that we're all familiar with and sort of take for granted that not everybody knows everything that we know. So I think that's one of the biggest aspects that attracts people to JumpCrew and what we do.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about it that way, because if you were an organization that was going to build your own sales team, you're kind of doing it inside of a vacuum. You may have people who have experience doing it before and they can bring that, but because we're all centralized here in Nashville, we have one team that's sitting next to another team that has management and directors and operations, and everybody's there on site together. So there's this just natural knowledge share across the whole org. And with every new team that we add, that knowledge base seems to just grow and grow and grow. And so it's all centralized. And I mean, I got to imagine that that's been a huge benefit too, because you've been experienced on a number of different teams, both as a salesperson and as a manager. So you probably have been able to take some learnings from one team, apply it to another, and vice versa. Have you seen that's happened internally?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it's something that I tell people that I interview for jobs and people that are on the floor, just to offer that perspective that, the Marcoa team started out with 2 reps. There's like 80 people out there now selling, so that we have that opportunity to make that same impact for all of the clients. So, whether you're just working day to day or not, like having that perspective, I think, offers something for everybody to work towards. So.
Yeah, that's great, man. So I've heard a little bit about a hobby of yours, perhaps a hobby, maybe more so a passion, but it's your shoe collection. I'd love to hear a little bit about this.
Yeah, well, it is not that impressive, actually. Robert Henderson and Jerry Surratt actually are the shoe pros, so I'm not even halfway close to where they're at. But, I love Nikes, Adidas, just about anything I can get my hands on. Like, love a good shoe. Love the smell of a new shoe. It's like a new car. It's like just having that, you want to have something for every occasion, and, I mean, that's pretty much it.
It's probably the only time anybody loves the smell of a shoe is that first time they take it out, because every time after that, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah, you got to leave them in there for a couple years and not wear them to get that new smell again. So,
are there shoes where you feel like you've only worn them like a couple of times for very specific occasions? Sneakers.
Yeah, so sneakers I only wear like the good ones on Fridays. So the ones I got on today are the Air Force ones. I'll pull my. Shea, yeah.
What's this N354?
So this was originally a prototype of the Air Force One, and they brought it back and added some new flavor to it. So, anyways, download the Nike app today for all custom discounts.
Yeah, we do take sponsorships, Nike. We need more budget soon, please. So is this something that just kind of happened organically, or did you actively start seeking out a shoe collection?
Yeah, so I mean, growing up in a small town playing sports, like, shoes are always a big thing, wearing Jordans or Nikes or whatever. Like, it was just kind of part of my life and, just growing up. So once I started making a little bit extra cash, like, that's my guilty pleasure for sure. So I don't know, maybe I'll start selling them too. Have you ever seen the show Entourage? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like Turtle has that closet where he's got all of those racks of like backlit shoes. That is a dream of mine. Like, I don't buy a lot of stuff. In fact, I rarely buy anything for myself, but if I did, in my perfect world, I'd have a walk-in closet with backlit shoe racks and one of those like when you get your clothes dry clean, you press the button, it goes, I want one of those with all of my clothes color coordinated. Always recently dry cleaned. I'm so OCD. The thought of that. I've got the same dream. Awesome. Where do you see JumpCrew going? Like, we've grown a lot. I mean, when we started, like, there was probably 40 people less when you started. There were 50 something when I started. We're at 400 now. And we've had a couple of pivots. I think we found a lane now that seems to really be clicking. What do you think the next chapter of JumpCrew looks like, either in your world or just broadly across the whole organization? I think if we go back to 1965, we're going way back. Oh, hey, in 4 years we're going to be on the moon. No way. That's crazy. I think that's really the perspective that I have now. It's like, because, I mean, like I said earlier, the first week on the phones, I was calling from my cell phone. Now we have, like, major labels that we're working with every day. So to me, it's just, I don't know. The sky's the limit. As far as the new building and everything else that we're getting excited for, that's just going to be a springboard to stuff that we're probably not even going to imagine that we, is possible. So stuttering here.
No.
This is really good stuff.
No, it's all right, man. We keep it casual here. But no, that's an interesting way to think about it. From 1965 to 1969, like my training when I came on at JumpCrew when we were 50 people was we had some call recordings. I sat in a room with somebody, with the other person who started with me, and we just listened to those calls for a little bit. And they were like, all right, here's the general idea of what we're doing. Put a phone in my hand, and we got to work. And now I see this training program. It's, every hour they've got a peer facilitated presentation, or they've got a leadership introduction, or a workshop, or objection handling. And by the end of the first week, the feedback has been so overwhelmingly positive that people feel so empowered to just get up and start rocking and rolling with a support system there. I'll credit to them for building that out. And there's a million examples of that across the whole organization. And what we've tried to do a better job of, you may have seen this, is like during some of our broader team or company meetings, is having some longer tenured employees tell their story. Like, here's my background, here's where I started at JumpCrew, here's where I am now. Because as we've grown so much and there's all these net new people, giving them the sense that their trajectory is and could be very similar to that, I think helps to build a really strong connection with everybody. So who do you think is the funniest person at JumpCrew?
Oh, gosh. Jerry Surratt's pretty funny. He's got some good jokes. They're all dad jokes, so kind of runs dry pretty quick, but he comes up with some good ones every now and then.
So, word on the street is that you have some go-to jokes, and that you've even done a little bit of stand-up in the past. Do you have any of those that you'd be open to sharing?
I went on stage one time a couple years ago. There was someone who used to work here, and she was going to stand-up, doing stand-up all the time, opening mics any chance she got, and we kind of tossed it around like, yeah, I'd come out, and she held me to it. And, I totally bombed. I don't even remember the name of the place. It was over by Vanderbilt, and, crash and burn. Like, it was awful.
Well, man, I got to give you so much credit. That's got to be one of the most terrifying things in the world. It is on my bucket list to try it at one point, and God bless my wife, because, like, anytime I think there's something even remotely funny, I don't know what the joke is, but I know the idea is funny, and so, like, I've got a little notepad on my phone, and someday, whether it's 5 months from now or 5 years from now, I am going to do it, just like some open mic night, and go through it. It scares the hell out of me. And respect for even getting up there and doing it. So I think just getting that first one under your belt, and then thinking, okay, is this something I'm willing to, like, I'm a masochist, I'll go do it again. Like, I'll put myself through that experience. I got to give you a lot of credit for it. One of those I was thinking about was, like, what used to be really fun was, like, pushing people into the pool. It was like, ha ha ha, like, let's push in the pool. But, like, once cell phones came out, like, that is no longer funny. Getting pushed in the pool is probably one of the biggest fears anybody in 2020 has, because it's an immediate $300 bill. Yeah. That used to be fun. See, I'm crashing and burning right now.
Falling in a pool.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't thought about that in a while. I forgot how scared I was.
Humorous
about
stuff. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you taking a little bit of time to jump in. Tell us a little bit about your experience. Share a little bit about yourself personally, your shoe collection, your stand-up comedy, your background as an English teacher. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the 50/50 Show. Check us out every week where we have new guests both inside and outside of JumpCrew to talk a little bit about stuff that's professional, stuff that's business related, and mostly just stuff that's completely nonsense. See you next time.